So one of the other people who was involved in the early technical alliance at Columbia, his name was Charles, it was actually Proteus Steinmetz. And he was essentially like a wunderkind who was a wizard with electricity. And he was at General Electric, and his focus was on alternating current. And I think we talked about that a little bit on one of the other talks, sort of the difference between direct current and alternating current. And again, within the polarization system, and I have this sign that shows the, yin yang. And, I've talked to with Deepti about this at some point about sort of even within in India, like the tantric yoga, the male female polarity energy and the circuit and keeping things in balance, that's sort of what it exemplifies. This idea of, so what Steinmetz was known for was researching polarization via using magnetization, which again, it's not my specialty, and I'm sure people who, there was somebody named Pete Ramon on Facebook, but now I'm off Facebook, but he was really talking about iron nanoparticles. And so within the geoengineering or some of the terraforming or the food additives, if we're looking to use frequency to sort of catalyze biological changes or mental changes in living systems, having, iron and electromagnetism, it seems like that may be related. That the system was always about going back to equilibrium, but that you would have these transient shocks and then watching the signal return back to an equilibrium process. And so for me, all of these apply to engineering techniques, but I believe that those people who are in power, the people who are at the Macy conferences, were understanding those electrical systems and then directly and indirectly using that knowledge to begin to steer the world in towards this sort of unified technocratic program and to condition us for it. And so and
you said all of this applies to what? You broke up for 1 second there. All of it applies to?
Just the social engineering towards a global unification of, the world brain system.
When also, go ahead. Sorry.
No.
The polarization thing too, and the idea of using that, like you said, within a social media space of like, inciting people and using that as a power base, starting to see these social media spaces in this context as well is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a circuit. It's a network of circuits, and it's at a macro and micro. And so we are representing ourselves through our online engagements, and I use Twitter a lot. So I'm going to have to sort of reflect on what this means, for me, because I think a lot of it is about developing out the digital twinning and then seeing your impact on others. And I can even see within my Twitter engagement, it's dropped off precipitously. Like my count keeps going up theoretically, and who knows if those are even actually real individual people that represent, but it's in the engagement. They can dial it up or dial it back at will. And so what kind of communication is it if you're putting stuff out and you're not actually, it's not reciprocated, or the message just goes into the ether? Then it knows how you're projecting, but there's no
it's collecting information on you, but you're not getting anything out of it. You're not, we're there ostensibly to communicate with others and to share ideas and to have discussions and to even just in our personal things, share, hey, this is what I'm doing this week or whatever. But I don't think people realize the degree to which this whole space, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or whatever, the degree to which it's being manipulated, like on a whole other level. So I've talked to you about this, Alice, and I don't think I've ever mentioned this on a video yet, but so I manage your channel, your YouTube channel, and I also have my own channel. And I will make a comment on one of your videos, and when I'm logged into my account, I can see it. When I log into your account, it's not there. And I've checked this several times. And the implications of this are massive. Like, I don't even fully understand the implications of it, but I know it's massive. Because the idea to build little walls and then build little tunnels, like we can connect these people and we're gonna divide these people. So basically you and I, on as far as YouTube, the only reason I'm gonna see this because I have access to your account. But you and I are basically, YouTube has said, no, you guys are not allowed to communicate, or it's a one-way communication. Like, I can look at your videos, and I can leave it. And then I'm like, what's the point of leaving a comment? Like, I know it's just like not even going to, it's who's going to be seen by, and then they can pick and choose who sees it. I mean, the ability to socially engineer and to create, to incite people to withhold information and to release information at a micro-managed level like that is really disturbing, and I think people really need to think about that. When I left Facebook, it was kind of I was torn because I want to keep in touch and I want to communicate with people, but I just saw it's way more insidious. This is way worse than just straight up censorship. I mean, I was pissed off about YouTube before all this happened because they had deleted some videos of mine saying it went against community standards, which it didn't. And I was upset about that, but that's just overt censorship. This is next level. This is like censorship and you don't even know you're being censored, or you're being censored with some people and not others. I mean, that's right. That's scary.
Well, and now we have devices that can track your emotions, right? They can look at your eye pupil dilation and your reaction to content. So they can even automated probably calculate to create the polarization that they want. Like, when do I drop that message on your social media feed, right? When your pulse rate is this, right? Can we bump it up higher? And then these systems feed each other. And so it's, and yet here we still are. So,
yeah.
Okay.